Get to it. First up, we've got bisphenol A, more commonly known as BPA. Now, you've probably heard of BPA before. It's in everything from water bottles to food packaging. But did you know it's also often found in sunglasses, especially those flexible, bendy frames? Here's the thing about BPA, it's what they call an endocrine disruptor. Sounds scary, right? Well, it kind of is. Basically, it means BPA can mess with your hormones by mimicking estrogen in the body. And when your hormones are out of whack, it can lead to a whole cascade of problems. We're talking about things like infertility, for both men and women. Nobody wants that. It can also increase the risk of certain cancers, like breast cancer and prostate cancer. And if that wasn't enough, BPA has also been linked to neurological issues, like memory problems and developmental issues in children. Not cool. BPA, not cool. The scary part is, because it's an endocrine disruptor, even small amounts of BPA can have an effect on your body, and it can be really hard to avoid. But don't worry, we'll talk about ways to limit your exposure a little later. So, next time you're shopping for sunglasses, remember BPA, the hormone hijacker, and choose wisely. Your body will thank you for it. Moving on to another sneaky chemical often found in sunglasses of phthalates. You know that new car smell or that distinctive plastic Y odor? Yeah, that's often phthalates you're smelling. And unfortunately, they can be found in sunglasses too, mainly in the frames and lenses. So, what's the big deal with phthalates? Well, like BPA, they're also endocrine disruptors. But phthalates take it a step further by messing with not just estrogen, but also testosterone, the male hormone. Talk about double trouble. This hormonal havoc can lead to a whole host of problems, especially for pregnant women and young children. Studies have linked phthalate exposure to developmental and reproductive issues, including birth defects. Nobody wants to bring a child into the world with unnecessary health problems, right? But it's not just babies that are at risk. Phthalates have also been linked to liver and kidney problems, obesity, and even diabetes. They can mess with your metabolism and make it harder to maintain a healthy weight. So, while you're trying to protect your eyes from the sun, those sunglasses could be silently harming your body in other ways. Next up, we're talking about a heavy metal that's anything but heavy on health benefits. Lead. You might be thinking, lead? In sunglasses? Seriously? But yes, seriously. Lead is sometimes used in the pigments that give sunglasses their color, especially those bright, vibrant ones. And here's the problem. Lead is toxic. Like, really toxic. It's a neurotoxin, which means it can damage your brain and nervous system. And the worst part? Lead accumulates in your body over time. So, even small exposures can add up and lead to serious health problems down the road. We're talking about things like memory loss, learning difficulties, and even reduced IQ, especially in children. But it doesn't stop there. Lead exposure has also been linked to a higher risk of cardiovascular disease, kidney damage, and even reproductive problems. It's like a slow-acting poison that can wreak havoc on your entire body. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ellen, you're scaring me. I'm never wearing sunglasses again. Don't panic just yet. There are ways to protect yourself. The key is to be informed and make smart choices. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to talk about cadmium, another heavy metal that's bad news for your health. And guess what? It can also lurk in your sunglasses, particularly in the pigments and coatings. Cadmium is a known carcinogen, which means it can cause cancer. Yikes! And to make matters worse, just like lead, cadmium accumulates in your body over time, primarily in your bones, kidneys, and liver. Long-term exposure to cadmium has been linked to several types of cancer, including lung cancer, prostate cancer, and kidney cancer. It can also weaken your bones, increasing the risk of osteoporosis and fractures. And if that wasn't enough, cadmium can also mess with your immune system, making you more susceptible to infections and diseases. It's like cadmium is trying to sabotage your health from the inside out. But don't worry, we'll talk about ways to fight back and reduce your exposure. Okay, let's talk about nickel. Now, nickel is everywhere, in jewelry, coins, even some foods. And yes, you guessed it, it can also be found in sunglasses, especially in the metal frames. Now, you might be thinking, what's the big deal with nickel? It's just a metal, right? Well, here's the thing. Nickel is a common allergen. In fact, it's one of the most common causes of allergic contact dermatitis. That means if you're allergic to nickel, even brief contact with it can trigger a nasty skin reaction. We're talking about things like redness, itching, swelling, blisters, even dry, cracked skin. It's not pretty, and it's definitely not comfortable. And for some people, nickel allergy can be so severe that they have to avoid contact with it altogether. But even if you don't have a known nickel allergy, repeated exposure can sensitize your skin over time, making you more likely to develop a reaction in the future. So while you're trying to protect your eyes from the sun, those sunglasses could be causing an entirely different kind of discomfort. Next up, we've got a chemical that's about as welcome as a skunk at a picnic: formaldehyde. You know that strong, pungent smell you associate with embalming fluid in science labs? Yeah, that's formaldehyde. And while it might seem strange, formaldehyde can actually be found in sunglasses too, particularly in the glues and resins used in the manufacturing process. Now you're probably thinking, formaldehyde in my sunglasses? That's just wrong. And you're right, it is. Formaldehyde is a known carcinogen, meaning it can cause cancer. And to make matters worse, it's also a respiratory irritant. That means it can trigger asthma attacks, allergies, and other respiratory problems. So while you're trying to protect your eyes from the sun's harmful rays, those sunglasses could be exposing you to another danger. It's like trying to avoid a bee sting only to walk into a spider web. Last but not least, we're tackling UV coating chemicals, specifically a group called benzophenones. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, aren't UV coatings supposed to be a good thing? They protect our eyes from the sun? And you're right, they do. But here's the catch: some of the chemicals used in these coatings, like benzophenones, can be absorbed through your skin and wreak havoc on your hormones. Remember those endocrine disruptors we talked about earlier? Well, benzophenones are part of that mischievous crew. And when your hormones are out of whack, it can lead to a whole cascade of problems, including infertility, thyroid issues, and even an increased risk of certain cancers, like breast cancer. It's like benzophenones are trying to sabotage your health from the inside out. So, while you're trying to protect your eyes from the sun's harmful UV rays, those sunglasses could be exposing you to another danger lurking beneath the surface.